Good afternoon. 2 days in a row. What? Feels like it was just yesterday I clicked off. Wasn't sure what I was going to do today, but today wound up being the day that we're going to continue painting this fossil replica. Yeah. Kind of winging it, which is kind of how most paint jobs on props I've done end up going. I want to try something that I may end up regretting. But I was looking at this yesterday and today, especially after yesterday's paint dried completely. I kind of want to knock back the lightness of this, but I want to avoid putting a dark layer on top of it already. So on the lower jaw, I'm going to try a little something. I'm just going to take a piece of paper towel and hit it with a little isopropyl alcohol and just kind of lightly run that along and just see what happens. We might get a cool texture out of it. Might make it look a little more fossily. I don't know. We're going to find out. Let's see. Let's start where people are rarely ever going to look. I'm just going to do a little bit. A little. Just to even bring back some of the darker color underneath it. So it might be kind of hard to tell, but it is actually doing what I wanted to do. You see how little bits of the, I hope that's the dark brown and not the plasti dip, coming back through as I'm running the isopropyl alcohol on the paper towel over it. That's all I want. I'm not looking to like completely remove yesterday's work. I'm just looking to make it look even less even than I got it to look. And the key with this is just not going crazy. It's just going to be a little time consuming because I do have to pay attention to how much paint I'm actually taking off. Could go nuts and just, you know, which actually hold on. That actually kind of looks cool. Just slapping it around a little bit with some IPA on a paper towel. And even just doing that, this side just has a little bit more character. A little bit, not a lot, a little bit. We're still many layers away from what I have in mind. Paper towel is wearing out. I've always got like a shop towel around here somewhere. Microfiber. Here we go. Just don't want any, I cut this one, so I don't want any lint. Also, a little fun, a little hack. I got a cheap bottle of isopropyl alcohol, and I just put a cheap spray nozzle right onto the bottle. This way I always have it handy. So it's kind of like weathering, except taking off a layer of dark paint from high spots, I'm taking off a layer of light colored paint from high spots. Other projects, I've gone so far as to seal each layer before I do anything to it. Which in this instance, I'm glad I didn't do. Otherwise, I would have been stuck with it. And like, it's not the most natural looking effect, but it does add it adds a natural randomness to it. It just seemed the color was just too uniform, and even though I just kind of splotted it everywhere and semi dry brushed it on, it still wasn't dirty enough, wasn't worn down enough. But this is actually kind of doing the trick. Not taking all the paint, just some high spots. But yeah, I used to seal every layer of paint on a prop before I moved on to the next, and which it's two-handed, because if you like the layer and you want to lock it in, cool, then that's locked in. You never have to worry about losing that color or anything. But if you realize later or the next time you look at it that you're not crazy about that paint that you put on there, well, you locked it in, you're stuck with it. But even just doing this with just the towel, it's knocking back some of the color just enough. I got to retrieve yesterday's colors from fridge. I'm thinking, I'm really not sure what color to do next. Lighter or darker? Obviously, it's brown, earth tones. I just don't know which one I'm gonna make. Yeah, I think that just sells it better. Ooh. I do want to polish these teeths, though. Oops. Did I? No. What did I coat these with? Acrylic? The teeth? I know they were hit with, actually, no, they weren't hit with Plasti Dip. They were just primed, I think. Or not even primed? I don't even remember. Doesn't matter. The teeth I'm not worried about. They are really sturdy. I coated each tooth in smooth on epoxy resin. So the teeth, they're not like, you're not gonna, you're not gonna punch a hole in yourself or anything, but they're still tough. All right, I gotta get the paint. Be right back. Got it. Yeah. We made that. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with it here. Hold that. That was fine. That we're going to work off of, I think. Well, hold on. Can I make... Should be able to. Let's take a look. So... Every time I look at this one, I see things that I would do differently. I didn't take the time to adjust the camera's color and white balance and all that. Sorry. This is inaccurate from what I'm actually seeing. It looks a lot closer. I mean, you can tell that the darker bits of this and even like the overall dark shade is kind of... Yeah. Wow, I need to go lighter. I didn't really want to go lighter. If I was going to go lighter, I should have started with the lighter coat. Lighter colored coat. Lighter colored layer. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. So... Alright, well, no, before I do anything, before paint goes on anything, I gotta wipe this guy down. Oh, yeah, so the biggest reason I'm doing this, the bit that caught my eye the most, and it's caught my eye on the whole part of this build, and it was one of the last pieces I put together, this whole back of the skull section, where the spine met the skull. Obviously, it didn't look anything like this, but compared to every other bit of the piece, it's this whole thing right here that I wish I could just cut out and redo, because it's too uniform. It's not symmetrical, but it's still too smooth. There's not enough grooves and divots and pits and stuff, and it stands out to me, and I don't like it. But there's nothing I can do about that now. Except the paint job. I can do something about the paint job, and that can sell it where the actual making of it won't. And then also to make it even more obvious that this piece is, or this part of the piece is too uniform, the paint job is too uniform. So, not enough random specks and spots. So I think I'm actually going to take the majority of this paint here off. Or at least a little more than the other layers on the jaw. Yeah, but it's even smoother textured compared to everything else. I don't know why. I don't know why that came out so clean and the rest of the skull came out looking more natural. I don't know what happened there. That was a really annoying piece to pattern. If you're checking this out for the first time, This fossil replica is made entirely of EVA foam. It's made entirely of SKS Props HD foam. For all your foam fabrication needs. Emphasis on the high density because it is good for sanding. It is good for holding shape. Easy to seal. And I think it's a lot better than some of the other EVA foams I've worked with that are either too soft, not dense enough. So they're too malleable. I've got the cats running around. Yeah, I can tell areas I went way too thick, even with the chip brush yesterday, because there are areas that this technique is working almost immediately on, and I can see the darker layer peeking through, and then there's other spots where I just went too ham and put the lighter brown on a little thick. But I think that did pretty well. There have been plenty of times where I've sprayed the actual prop and did whatever work I was going to do on it. That's usually trouble because I usually forget where I sprayed and then completely overlook a spot. So I'm going to avoid doing that. But I am going to take a good amount of the layer we put on yesterday off. Not that it was a tremendous amount of work or anything. I think we were only live for like an hour yesterday. But it's still, in a professional setting, I wouldn't have time to do this. So the fact that I'm doing this for funsies and not on a deadline is really the only reason I can do this. So I've heard. Anyway. Yeah. And also the alcohol drying on it gives it like a matte almost finish under this light, and it looks way more like authentic fossil than it did before, I think. This side, okay, so the back occipital backplate, I think is what it's called, is this whole section here. It looks well put together. It's all EVA foam, all cut crazy angles and put together meticulously, but whatever. I don't know words. It's a pain in the ass to put together, and it doesn't look like bone. And it's exactly what the back of. Hold on, I'll show you what went down with this. All I did was pattern the back of the 3D print and replicate it. I literally replicated every square millimeter of this 3D print and scaled it up and transferred it to EVA foam. Aside from cleaning up the lines of the templates in Inkscape, this was completely done analog. No 3D imaging software. I'm going to use that stuff one day. I need to. Just not today. Because technology is kind of irritating, to be honest. Some smelly acrylic. Not like chemically, just smelly. I was hoping to figure out what color I wanted to go with next while I was doing that, but I totally forgot to think about it. I guess I'm gonna have to go lighter. Right? Yeah. Damn. Okay. So the question is then, do I seal this paint job in? The answer is no. I'm not gonna seal this layer in. The only sealing of this paint that I'm gonna do is going to be before weathering. So that's when every last layer of color that I want on it is on it. And then the only thing left to do is just to dirty it up. But it's a fossil in a museum, so it's old, but not dirty. It looks dirty because it's old. So weathering a fossil replica kind of seems redundant. I'm going to do it anyway. Wait, so am I really about to go darker? Or lighter? I'm doing this paint job ass backwards. This is usually how it goes anyway. It always ends up looking good. I just, I lose the method in the madness. Oh, I'm gonna hate myself. I'm gonna hate myself. We're going lighter, folks. Oh, something tells me this is a bad idea. Not as bad a shape as this brush is in. I don't think we're using you today. Do I hear a kitty? Do I hear a kitty that definitely doesn't need lunch because he just got it? Should have let this soak. I thought I cleaned it out well enough. Oops. I think I used this one to put the shade of black on it. Damn, I need new brushes. These are all kind of shot. I think I have to use this one. I don't know if you could hear that, but I just got some crazy thunder. You probably can't hear it through the lav mic, but I did. It's funny, I was going to look up the weather before I went live today, but I didn't. Oops. So unfortunately, this chip brush is my best brush for applying a large amount of paint in a short amount of time. So that's what I'm gonna work with. I don't even remember what I painted to get the ends of this thing so messed up, but I did. Can't exactly straighten it out, can I? I used to have to do this with brushes when I was using neoprene sealant for props. Just kind of run a X-Acto blade through it a couple times, get rid of some of the split ends, and just comb it through. You gradually just, this is obviously destroying the brush, but these chip brushes, I think, cost me like $1 for a whole package of them, so I'm not concerned. Usually buy these for like 1 or 2 time use anyway, but as you can see, I've had this brush for a while. Probably too long. Way overdue for retirement. Let's see. Well, I'm not going to use that particular brown again, so there's really no harm in lightening it up, right? So I'm thinking, no. This is technically coral. It's 2 skin tone. Camel is still kind of skin tone-ish, but not too bad. I need to use this. I really need to utilize this, and I don't know how. Other than dumping a shit ton of paint into it and making way more of a mess and wasting paint. I don't have a lot to lose, so if I can keep the paint fresh, I'm gonna use it on something eventually. There's always like 2 or 3 projects that are gonna get painted at this, not the same time, but in the same time frame. I think the biggest mistake to that was adding some of that Plat Effects black. I think that's where that really went wrong. One day I'll get one of those fancy, what's it called, palettes with the little spatula. Right now, I don't think I'm all that worthy of it. I don't even have anything to stir paint with. Hold on. No. I used to. I feel like I was running into the same issue yesterday where I just didn't have anything. Just didn't have anything useless that I could use to stir something with. And I thought I was prepared today compared to yesterday. Lies I tell myself. That's what the brush is being used on anyway. This color just absorbs color, I swear. Like I added... It barely looks any different. What the hell? It's an interesting tone. See that? It's weird looking. but it might just be exactly what I need. See what happens. I mean, actually, it lightened it up, but it also kept like the. Actually, I don't know what the hell it did. Didn't even add that much more. Doesn't matter. This is going to be another layer that we knock back down probably tomorrow anyway. And I think we're just going to keep doing this. We're just going to keep adding layers and layers. I'm pretty sure I've said that like 3 or 4 times already, but that's really the best thing I can do. I've only painted one other thing like this to look like a skull. Really old skull thing, and it looked cool. It just didn't look natural enough, and I keep putting emphasis on that. I know, but like I really am trying to make this look like natural. So I don't know how this is going to work out. Also would love it if I had an easier way to hold this. Just gotta do it like that, I guess. Oh god. Do I put this paint on this? Do I do it? I'm terrified. What if I just stippled and avoided the deeper spots? Huh? Oh, that's so much brighter. So much brighter. It's too late. We've gone too far. The color's right. I just don't know if this technique is going to work exactly how I want it to. Kind of doing something experimental here. For me, anyway. So before this layer gets knocked back, I'm going to lose a bunch of the detail. I can see that. A lot of the more subtle divots and dips that I burned into the foam for the wood burner, I'm going to lose like the ones around the teeth here. But when I knock it back, I'm going to focus on those spots specifically. It's definitely a layer. I'll give it that, man. I mean, it's cool. Definitely different. I'll give it that. All right. Just going to keep going. I got to reset this brush. a there is going to be a point where just doing this isn't going to be enough. But cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now, I think it looks pretty good. Or at least it's getting there. It's probably gonna be a stream sooner rather than later where I have to use a paintbrush. Not paintbrush, what am I saying? I skipped lunch today. A hair dryer. A hair dryer to dry the layers so I can jump onto another one. Just continue working that day. Because only doing a layer a day is just dragging this project on even longer. And I'm so tired of Tyrannosaurus Rex. No, I'm not. I've just been looking at this for a long time. Could have made it harder to hold. Damn. Okay. I'll set you aside. User. Oh, I envy makers with nice large workbenches. I'm gonna make my own one day. I've had the blueprints drawn up forever. I just don't have the time or the space, really, is what it is. It's the space. Hey, here we go again. Same as yesterday. It's going to be so satisfying to weather this thing. I can't wait. It's the best part of any build. Unmasking and weathering. I'd love to be able to listen to copyright free music while I do this, but there's not much copyright free music like that available that's that long to take up this amount of time. That and using the footage, I didn't dab it clean. Damn it. See? We're already messing up. And did what I was afraid of doing, getting lighter colored paint in a darker. I already established that I'm doing this ass backwards. It's fine. Just kind of dry brushing anyway. Again. Ah! Oh, good. Now our T-Rex looks like Two-Face. Kinda. Not really. Make sure these match. Yep. Alright, so we're getting closer and closer to it not looking like foam. Which isn't like the whole point, but definitely something I'm trying to steer away from. Is that a... what is that? Can't tell if it's a brush bristle or... oh, I can't tell. So it's gonna stay. Congratulations, you're a part of the piece now. It's impossible to hold this thing. Why do I feel like the Bob Ross of this right now? Because I'm just doing something that does not look professional in any way, in any capacity, just, you know? But then all I gotta do is be like, and we're just gonna come in here with a big old stupid chip brush, and we're just gonna bap the hell out of it. Yep. Just gonna get a little bit of paint on the brush and just bap the hell out of your dinosaur there. Look at that. Just look at that bap. I don't know. But essentially, that's what I was going for. Layers. Can't tell now, but there's 3 layers of paint. I just need to wait for this layer to dry before I knock it back with isopropyl alcohol. Getting closer, though. Getting way closer. I'm gonna get a hairdryer, like a shop hairdryer. I'm sure I can find one at a thrift store for cheap. Actually, if I talk about nothing for long enough, this acrylic might dry, especially since it's not like crazy thick. Ugh, don't make me go back in there with tweezers and get all the hair bristle, the brush bristles out. That's exactly what happened, though. Got a bunch of brush hairs on there. But like, considering this whole thing used to be flat 6mm EVA foam, and with just a little bit of time, patience, and wood burner and foam clay, you get, boom. All right. That's actually a perfect way to have it chill while it's drying. It's actually, I did not think of that at all. Actually, hold on. It actually works really well. Right? And then, Oh, it hasn't even been an hour. All right, so I got to do something else while I wait for this to dry a little more. Because the next thing I'm doing is I'm taking some of this paint off that I just put on strategically, semi-strategically, not totally perfectly, but yeah. I gotta get that color out of this brush. Yes. So we're, after I knock back this lighter layer, I think I might need to do another dark layer then. Okay, so I'm going to knock back this lighter layer, and then we're going to go even darker than we did with the very first coat of brown, I think. Yeah. Yes. Gotta save these though. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. Good God. I don't know if I'm going to keep this one because it's just too. No, I have to. It's a waste. I can't. I refuse to throw out paint. I'm just not gonna. That's why one of these ramekins sat in my fridge for like a month and a half, is because I'm terrible about it, but it's like, what if I need the color? You know? Just need. Well, no, because I'm gonna use the microfiber to knock it back. In the meantime, though, I need to figure out how dark. So I'm gonna stare at this picture again for a little bit. I'm thinking just some dark sienna and that brown that I already have. Honestly, just kind of stipple it on there. I have an airbrush. I just haven't taken it out of the box yet, and I've never used one, and I don't know if this is going to be the project that I experiment with it yet. I don't know. Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Yes, I'm thinking just a little bit of the burnt sienna. I need a bigger workspace. And espresso, ancient espresso. (2010) October of 2010. Yeah, it's old. Oh my god, that is old. Oh, so there is a thunderstorm. Thought I heard thunder. I don't want to lose all that, and I'm out of containers. Am I? There's something in this. Something like calcified, almost. Sometimes you can... Nope. Not with that. No. I don't know what the hell that is. Alright, just checking the signal. We're good. I think there was glow pigment in this once upon a time. Really expensive glow pigment. Oh well. Well, am I starting over or what? Are we going darker? Are we going lighter? Oh my god. Low blood sugar combined with ADHD. Whew, boy. Okay. You stay there, sir. Let's see. Do I need to wait anymore? I don't think so. Pretty dry. And like I said earlier, I'm putting it on pretty light. So just a damp towel with just enough isopropyl alcohol on it. Should do the trick. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's what we want. That's what we want. Just a little more wear and tear. It's not the most practical technique, but I am getting an effect from it. Which is cool. It's just the spaces that lighter layer did level out, that the paint is not coming off of, really. That might be the last layer I get away with just stippling it on. So that's with one solid layer and 2 layers on top of it lightly knocked back. And I know it looks plain and flat now. Does it look any different? Yeah. That's looks even more washed out. It's a really washed out color. And that kind of translates onto it, but I really am disappointed in my camera settings because it does look a lot better in person. Carrying on. I wish I had more patience. I really don't have any. I'm working on it. Oh, oh no. No, 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 no. Tell me that's not primer. Ugh. Alright. Lame. There is one really, really high spot on this side of the jaw. That just a couple passes too many with the cleanup, and I actually ate through to the primer. It happens. That's an easy boo-boo to fix. Especially if it's just a dot. I don't even know if the camera can pick it up. But I can. I can see it. It's right there. And it's definitely doing something to it. Actually, you know what, though? That is actually looking pretty cool. I know I go back and forth on like everything with this project so far. But that technique actually did something. For this particular piece anyway, because it's supposed to replicate like bone and been in the ground for millions of years, so I think I might even need to be a little more aggressive with this side now to make it match. I'm honestly more so worried about taking off too little than too much with this layer. But there is something cool about the contrast, that there's the areas that are the high spots are actually the lighter ones right now. And the low spots are the brighter. So it's the exact opposite of like every other paint job I've done up until this point, that at this stage the little low points are brighter in most spots. But you know, that's starting to look like it's been in the ground for a minute. I can't stress enough that this is EVA foam. It's foam. I hope that surprises some people that it's craft foam. A material that you would not expect to use for something like this, but hopefully it becomes more well known that you can make quite a lot with EVA foam. Even if you just use it as a base for something like this, which is really what I did. I made kind of like a shell and then expanded on that shell with the EVA foam. Yeah, this. I need to. Something's got to change about this whole up top spot. I got to figure out something because I just don't like it. It stands out. And not in the good way. It's not the kind of part, it's not the part of the prop that I want to stand out, and it stands out for the wrong reasons. It stands out because it looks like doo-doo. Yeah, I said doo-doo. I don't know what my language is going to be like on this channel. I think so far it's been pretty tame. Sorry if it hasn't. Sorry, not sorry. Ooh, that's interesting. What is that? What is happening? What's happening up there? Primer is coming through. That's what's happening. But I like that. If I could cover the whole fossil in just whatever's going on right there. Like, that looks like bone, man. Texture, everything. The only problem is going down even the slightest bit too far past that layer is primer. And if I go too far down all over the piece, that won't be good. Because even one speck of primer missed could stand out. My stomach hates me right now. I lost track of time, skipped lunch. You should never do that. Please don't skip meals. I'm a terrible example of eating healthy or eating healthy regularly. My diet's healthy enough. It's just I don't eat it enough. That's another one I would like to chalk up to a certain attention deficit. Sometimes it would be too easy to chalk something up to ADD, but forgetting to eat before work is definitely one of them. But this actually is working pretty well. It's working better than I thought it was going to originally. I didn't think I was going to get a good look from taking some of the other older layers of paint off. And it's a combination of the stippling I did with the last two layers. Was it 2 or 3? Last 2 layers. And then also, I think it has something to do with the texture of the towel that I'm using. It's kind of working well. It's really getting into some crooks and nannies, nooks and crannies. Ooh. Actually. Ooh. Taking a lot. Going a little aggressive with it. Actually looks great. That's totally by accident, man. Yeah, being a little aggressive and taking that lighter layer that I just put on there way back and even digging into the layer before that to expose the very first layer I put on. Yeah, man, that looks old. Look at it, look at it, look at it. That's what I'm talking about. The top of the nose right behind the nostrils there and the whole ridge. Yes, that's what I wanted. That's what I'm going for right there. There's like, you can see all 3. Sorry if my hands are super shaky right now, but you can see all 3 layers of brown kind of peeking through in this whole area right here. That's what I want this whole thing to look like. And then just imagine what it would look like with maybe 1 or 2 more layers of color. And then on top of that, weathering, forget about it. You could put this thing on display in a museum, please. Thank you for humoring me in that moment of serotonin, dopamine, serotonin, whichever one, both. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Oh man. When you've had a project like this one looming over you for so long, you start to forget why you started doing this in the first place. I just remembered. Because I'll have a real looking T-Rex skull when I'm done. That's why. And then, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to display it yet. The 3D print that I made the pattern from. Am I out of alcohol? I'm out of alcohol. That actually might be a problem. Because I don't want to use water. What was I saying? Sorry about the lav mic. The 3D print that I'm basing this off of, or that I pretty much ripped off of, it's got a little peg hole. And I put the peg hole in this exactly where it is on the model because I can't help myself. I patterned the whole thing. It was clearly meant to be stuck on a stand and put on your desk, and I'm probably going to do that with this little guy eventually. After I clean the 3D print up and make it look pretty. Prettier. It's a good print. It's just the print lines all over it are horrendous. But like, who didn't go into a museum as a kid? And I used to live in New York, so the Museum of Natural History was like, I was spoiled. I could go to it pretty much whenever I wanted to, and I did frequent it a lot when I was a kid. Either my mom or cousins or somebody would take me there pretty frequently, like maybe once a year or every other year we would go there. But like, who didn't stand in front of the T-Rex or a T-Rex display and be like, oh man, if only like I could have that in my living room or in my room, I'd be the coolest kid on the block. You have no idea. Fast forward decades, and I'm an adult and I'm able to make it because I'm an adult and I can't afford to buy it. But I'm semi-capable at making crap, so I'm making it. So there's your origin story. And that's pretty much the origin story for the entirety of me making stuff, is that I saw something when I was a kid, and when I was a kid it was unobtainium, uranium, and later in life I was like, yeah dude, I can make that now. So I made it. And I think every prop maker, cosplayer, whether they make the stuff or not, can relate. I couldn't really do it as a kid. I enjoyed doing it as a kid. And I couldn't do it as a kid or couldn't enjoy it as a kid, so now I'm doing it as an adult. Some of these other spots are a little harder to get the way I want them to. There's a couple spots where it's like it's obvious that I just took a brush and went So I'm trying to knock some of that back too. I wasn't paying attention. Just too busy talking to you / myself. Guess I can get here in case you're not seeing what's going on. So see how this spot right here looks. I'm just going to take my thumb underneath the towel where it's still damp with isopropyl alcohol and just give it a couple nice little, just gentle rubs, a little bit of friction, not too much. But the end result is you get that. And it looks awesome. So I think I'm just going to meticulously go over this whole prop like that. Oh my. Oh my. It's going to take a while. Worth it. It will be worth it. There's the impatient part of my brain that's like, dude, just spray the whole prop and go to town. No, 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 no. That is the fastest way to taking off too much paint. I really need to darken this spot up because it's just... I hate the way the entire back of the skull looks. So I'm going through the lighter, and then I'm going through the one underneath that, and then the way the darkest, the first layer, the darkest shade of brown that we put on there is poking through is making me so happy. And I can't believe that worked out the way it did. Come on, don't do this. Yeah, see, this is where that lighter layer was just way too thick. And that's the risk you take, I guess, when you do it this way, backwards. It's inevitable that you're going to take off a little bit of paint that you didn't mean to. It actually looks really good. Not gonna lie, I don't care. I've been tooting my horn at the end of like every episode of this, just about, and I don't do it off camera. So give me my positive self-talk while I have it. I should have another bottle of IPA somewhere. Where's the... There we go. I just need enough to make this side look like that side. And even after that, I'm probably going to keep going with this. I'm seeing that I'm taking paint away, right? And I'm noticing something that when I leave what I thought wasn't a uniform amount of paint on the piece, uh, wow, does it stand out. So I really am going to have to just kind of look over every part of this thing and decide what paint I want to knock back and what paint I don't. But like I said, wherever there's more than like a square centimeter of a solid color, I'm like, nope, 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 nope. Can't do that. But actually working out pretty good. I really hope my stomach's not coming through over the mic. But better my stomach than you hearing me chew. So this lighting is so annoying. That's better. You can see a little better. But you see the difference in layers? That's what I was going for. That's the effect I wanted. Just super all over the place, super unorganized, nothing uniform about it. This isn't going to be as obvious when I start going back to darker shades, weathering and stuff. But for the rest of it, yeah, that is what I was going for. That look. And with like 2 more shades of fossil color, it'll be even better. Fossil color. Brown. A shade of brown. I'm hungry. Yeah. I didn't anticipate going through all of this. I don't know where my other bottle is offhand, so just gonna have to run on fumes for a minute. But yeah, there are some spots that I just want to take off even more paint. The areas that I go down to the first layer almost remind me of the parts of a statue that passersby touch too much. And like either from what the piece was coated with or just from the oil of their hands, that part gets super discolored, but also has kind of like a charm to it. That's what I think of when I'm taking paint off of this through the layers down to the darkest layers. It just really, especially the areas that like get the most contact and the most pressure from my hand, it's like time has been just passing over that outermost piece the most, which looks really cool. It looks really cool. And I'm finally getting some layer contrast, and that's like one of the best parts in a paint job is when you see the layers kind of blend and come together, but also you can tell that there are layers. I think it just adds a lot more. And I'm just going to keep slowly knocking that lightest layer back, and then in some spots, not all over the place, just in some, because then I'm just taking the whole layer of paint off at that point. Letting that darker layer poke through. Letting the darkness shine forth. Makes no sense. For some reason, it's just really not happening for the nose all that much. It's not just the paint, the right amount of paint's not coming off where I want it to. I know it's all the same material. There might be a little more foam clay up here, but that shouldn't have anything to do with it. It's all covered in Plastidip, and then primer, auto body, fill in sand. Yeah, like what? It's a weird spot right here for some reason. I can't knock the paint back, and then even some primer is already starting to poke through, so I can't even focus on it too much, or I'm going to take too much off. Ugh. I wanted to take off more paint than that, but might be as good as that bit gets. Yeah, I'm just dry rubbing a skull right now, so I gotta get more IPA. Shall be back. I know I've got a bottle lying around here somewhere. Yes? No, you got lunch. Found it. I do need to buy more now, though. I'm using isopropyl alcohol to remove paint instead of water because isopropyl alcohol dries faster, significantly faster. It doesn't permeate. I don't have to worry about water going through the paint or anything. And I just think the IPA is the safer choice. Probably switch to this side. I don't want to risk any of the acrylic on the towel smudging and blending into the... Although that might actually be adding to the effect that I'm getting, is that I'm essentially blending and removing and redistributing high points and low points of paint on the piece. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to keep doing what's been working. Because now there's a little bit of pressure to keep it this way. Yeah, that's better. That's what we were missing. Just a little bit of life's perfect lubricant. Alcohol. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid. Went a little too happy and I took off a little too much. So I'm going to put a pin in this side and a few more high spots to knock down. And then I'm going to move back onto the other side. And then we'll reassess where to go from there. I didn't pay any attention to this little interior piece of the occipital back plate here. Rag, come on. There we go. Is that a thumbprint? We got a thumbprint. No, no. How the hell did that even happen? Look. Well, I mean, I know how it came to be. Uh-oh. Going a little too... I'm getting a little too happy with it in some spots. There we go. Oh, I can't wait to weather this for real, for real. But yeah, now we're getting a little more the natural looking side. So we're getting to the end here for today. And I'm thinking tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm not actually sure. I'm extremely tempted to mask the teeth off completely and hit this with some clear coat. today. Oh no, I can't. It is raining outside. But yeah, I like this the way it is. I don't want to lose this appearance that it has now. I'm really into it. I think it makes up for the some of the divots and pits that I neglected to include. Yeah. But the paint job is very quickly making up for that. The paint job and the way it's capturing light, it's gonna, yes, excuse me, it's gonna look a little different once the that's weird. It looks like a fold. It's definitely not supposed to be a fold. Oh, I mean, yeah, it is kind of. Maybe that side looks better ish. Yeah, anyway. Yesterday I was shaky. Today, significantly more confident about the paint job and how it's coming along. The next layer, I think, is going to have to be. So that's the thing. I don't know. I might need to do another even lighter layer and then go so far as to knock that back. But even knocking this layer back was a fair amount of work. Yeah, I'm just going. Just got to remember where I accidentally wore down to the primer. I'm pretty sure it was right around on this side. Yep. Go ahead and cover that with my thumb so I don't keep going over it. I'm going to seal this paint job when it is 100% done. The question is, what kind of finish? Well, fossils that I've seen in person and online, they kind of vary a little bit. Very rarely do you see a high gloss on a fossil just because that kind of texture, that kind of specimen doesn't have that feel to it anymore, doesn't have that texture, and it's not going to be smooth like freshly alive bone. And fossil technically isn't bone anymore. So whether I go for satin, which I think might be what I end up running with, is a satin clear coat at the end. Enough so the high spots and low spots will catch the light and have a really nice contrast off each other. You don't want to go too bright though, because if I go like gloss or semi-gloss, definitely not high gloss, you won't be able to see as much of the color variation, the higher the gloss I go, because this is going to need to be fairly well lit to really appreciate it. And because it's going to be fairly well lit, or probably very well lit compared to other pieces that I've photographed, there's going to be a lot of reflectivity because of the amount of light that I'm going to want to use with this. So definitely have to keep that in mind when I choose a finish, that I'm going to want to choose one that's a little flatter. Being a little too gentle with this side compared to the other side. And I could totally mess this up. I could totally mess up knocking back the paint on the lower jaw compared to the skull and them not looking like they belong. But so far, so good, I think. Yeah, a little less uniform in color. A little more spots of contrast and the different layers that I've put on so far. Every day I work on it, it looks a little better, a little nicer, a little dirtier. Kind of the idea. This is going to be the funnest thing to weather. I know I've said it already, but I can't state enough how excited I am for weathering this. Looking at it, yeah, it's either going to be, I mean, I'm bouncing from topic to topic here, but yeah, it's either going to be satin or I might even just go matte. Just a matte clear coat. I don't know, a matte clear coat, you would get all of the color and you don't need the reflection off the finish to tell you what the depth is, because the weathering and the variation in color between the high spots and the low spots is going to tell you how three-dimensional this object really is. Yeah, I won't know what finish until we're closer to the end. But it is getting there. And I mean really getting there. And normally paint jobs are, I don't know. I'm back and forth on painting these props. Sometimes it goes really well and it's really fun and it's done in like a day or two. Sometimes it's really annoying and tedious like this and it takes a while. But I am enjoying the process because every day this thing looks better and better. So I'm cool with it taking a little longer. All right. Getting near the end of today. So before I wrap up, I just want to put these two together just so I can gauge where we're at. Whoo, yeah. You're looking better and better, my prehistoric friend. There. That's pretty cool. Aside from the blue gums, you know what I mean? Let me get the other camera. Right? Yes, I'm making thumbnail. But I mean, we're getting there, man. Look at it. Look at it. Eventually, this monitor is going to be over there, and I won't look so stupid looking at the monitor, looking at you, looking at me, look at the monitor. But like, hold on. Let me see if I can. Every day, a little better. I don't think you realize how winged all of this is. It's pretty winged. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out and checking this out and following along this far if you have. I'm going to be doing more live streams, painting this and working on other stuff. Nothing scheduled yet. We're kind of winging it, but you can expect me to be alive a lot more often. And I hope you're having a good one. And I hope things are doing well. Hope things are going well for you. I'm sorry, I desperately need lunch. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I appreciate it. And where are we at? Truly though, thank you for spending some